All right, so we had, I was commenting here on a carnivore video that I saw. This female went carnivore and her hair is growing back. I mean, all of her metabolic problems are reversing. And I told her I subbed, and it's the meters. The source is here up at the top. Look at my, I'm wiggling my mouse. Go ahead and go out to her page and give her a listen. She's really great. I said subbed, and she said so happy to hear, woohoo. And so I wrote curious. I didn't know if she was California or Canadian because I couldn't pinpoint her accent. She has an interesting accent. I just thought, meh. But maybe she didn't go back to her video. And then I've been on keto for 7 months, been doing intermittent fasting 5 months, lost 55 pounds. This is not like just me, guys. This is common. I'm strongly considering going carnivore to see if it improves my hair. I'm 55, feel like I'm in my 30s again, but I'm always looking for what else I can do to keep improving. So I thought that was really cool. And then this person, this mean person, H, how does it feel that you're contributing to environmental destruction? Okay, so JP wrote back, environmental destruction is a very broad term. It does not take agricultural practices into account. Grass-fed cattle in a pasture do not require all the fossil fuels, pesticides, insecticides that are required even to grow corn. Their manure is a natural fertilizer that again does not require energy to produce, transport, and or distribute. I'm paraphrasing here, of course. If you compare the total environmental impact of a carnivore diet with animals raised using traditional practices to a plant-based diet, I suspect the carnivore diet is at least as good, if not better, for the environment. Now, this person is educated. Now, they've been on keto for 7 months, so 1 month shy of where I was. And I'm sure we're just imbibing all the information we can. That's absolutely right. Cows, according to, I saw a video from a carnivore. He was debunking the diet, all right? And he said 1.9%, this is from the EPA of the United States of America. In the United States, cattle in whole, in totem, are 1.9%, let's round up, 2% of the quote-unquote greenhouse gases that are produced by the United States. And transportation, I believe he mentioned, is 25%, etc. So, again, instead of picking on people because you have a shtick about being a vegan or vegetarian, you might want to consider walking everywhere or riding your bike. You know what? Lead by example. If it's that important for you that we know transportation, according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, states that driving your car is at least 12 times greater than anything a cow is going to burp or bloop. Let's get real here. So, and that was cool. He or she answered on a very intellectual, logical level. And here I just went for the emotional, the emotional jugular vein. So that's the wrong question to ask because the premise is false. According to the data, of course, we know that cows really are not doing anything. It's akin to digging for oil. The oil's been produced and it's being stored under the earth, and all we have to do is tap into it. It requires to be cracked, which means they just heat it up, and the stuff at the bottom becomes tar, and the stuff at the top gets blown off in a nice flame. I've seen it. It can be blue if you include enough oxygen. And all along the way, we come up with what's called fuel oils. That's gasoline, JP5 for airplanes. So again, all of it is used, and the last little hydrocarbon vapors are actually burned off, and that burns into essentially water vapor. So the oil has already been processed by the earth. Now here, when you're trying all these other ideas, we have to process silicon for the electric grid. We have to make fans, and unfortunately those fan blades are not recyclable from the information I have. So again, this new energy idea is great as long as the sun shines, the wind blows, okay? But even water projects, I remember growing up and they'd put turbines at the Niagara River near the Niagara Falls. And what they do is they open a gate and allow literally a tub to fill up, and then they close the gate off, and then they let it run through turbines, and it's called the Niagara Power Project. Completely wonderful. However, it did take gasoline or diesel or carbon fuels to actually produce the steel and everything that made the turbines. So again, I think it's nice here to understand that you have what's called the law of conservation of energy. You can transform mass, but you can't create it or eliminate it in thin air. So everything has a cost. So I wrote, what's wrong? Why don't you debate me live on YouTube? I'll be more than happy to have a friendly, and what I mean by that is a non-tribal chat, because I know you must know very little about what you're talking about. You're just repeating Greta notes. How dare you? How dare you? As she wagged her finger at a bunch of old people in the UN. Give me a break. People that age should be heard and not should be seen and not heard. That's where my generation came from. So if you should prove me wrong, we'll exchange. Or if you should will to prove me wrong, that is, if you want to prove me wrong, go ahead, and we'll exchange education and expertise in several levels of physics, meteorology, math, and sciences. I'm a big fan. I'll discuss this on the merits of science. So, but I did warn this person, whoever it may be, why don't you just take a peek on my channel to see that you will definitely be outgunned and outnumbered in this debate. The idea is that I know by this question that this person has no clue what he is talking about, and I will squash him like a metaphoric bug. So I will allow you to have the last word. However, I think our debate would be epic. So I hereby challenge you to a live intellectual duel on my YouTube. Do you accept? And if not, kindly bow. I will accept your abrogation. So be well. As the amazing human being that you are, I do love you. And I do. I think if we can educate people, I think that's paramount, because they really don't know what they're talking about, these poor kids. I mean, they're in their 20-somethings. They're a product of the Generation Xers, which is really a sad, cynical, miserable generation anyway. I know I belong to it. We came off the boomers. They had everything. And essentially, Xers have nothing. We're the highest in debt. Granted, we make the most money, but we really didn't have the lifestyle that our boomer parents did. And unfortunately, we did a very bad thing by helicoptering our little millennials and our post-millennials. I'm a little older and my kids are a little younger. So I actually have produced a few post-millennials. I raised them right, so don't worry, they're not going to be a burden whatsoever on the world culture. But this new generation is completely a lost ball in tall weeds. But it is our fault, so we should try to do what we can to help them. So that's the reason why the quote-unquote intellectual duel. I would love to be able to share information. Hopefully we can come to some kind of consensus. I understand cows burp and doodle bop on fields. But let's find out how that's different than growing a bunch of lettuce. Because it takes 20 times as much lettuce to give me the nutrition that I can eat in a chunk of beef. And in fact, if you compare lettuce to beef, I want you to do that right now. I want you guys to go out. I want you to look up what beef contains in 100 grams. Then I want you to find out what lettuce contains in 100 grams, or any vegetable you want. Compare it to my beef. I will beat you hands down in human nutritional density in every way, shape, or form. But I leave that to you. Don't trust me. Don't believe me. I'm not the government. I ain't what's-his-face. I don't tell people what to do with their lives. I'm not a doctor. I don't even pretend to prescribe medicines or any of that nonsense. Just do your own work. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great one.